Just fucking do it. Subscribe now.
And they've stretched now to Dallas, Columbus, Ohio, in Florida, which they've been. And you heard what they do. The 10-year-old that he's talking about, we were at dinner at the Brazilian in, is that Fort Lauderdale? Anyway, we're at the Brazilian hotel. And the kid called me Dan. And when the kid picked himself up off the ground after, Tony whacked him, but they were adults, and he's 15 or 16 now, and he's just, and whether he was drinking, I don't know. I didn't see him touching the alcohol, but he had never called me Dan before. But they're doing great, and they've incorporated other Cuban families, and they're crushing it, and they're getting contracts from the state, the city, the county. So they're not U.S. government contracts, but they're still contracts. And that's how they changed their model after they were here initially. I keep saying it. Questions, comments about the Goombas? Yes, sir, in the back.
They're brothers. You say don't do business with your relatives. How do they make it work?
They do. They're the anomaly. We have 2 husband and wife teams that made it work, one of which is the Carlings, still around. And we've never had a brother. We had a brother-sister in the 90s that made it work. And we had a father-daughter in the 90s and early 2000s to make it work. And then the daughter cut the dad's head off, threw him under the bus. But very rarely does it work, but it happens to. Now, the loudmouth, the alpha male guys, Tony, the older one, and the introvert, which he's not that introvert, is Jason. And they got rid of, had to get rid of, a whole bunch of family. The only family they have left is their mother is allegedly the controller. She brings everybody coffee. But I mean, they have one family employee left. Their mom. Her dad passed away a number of years ago. They're doing terrific. There's no question about that. And but they were on the cheap side, as Marcus Bauer admitted to, and they were penny wise and pound foolish. Most people, most, over 50% of the people that start off poor stay poorer than they should be because they can't shake the cheap mentality. You can't shake it. I didn't suffer from that. I was always I've always been as the only one. There's only one guy left that knew me when I was little, and he said Dan was always. I learned how to play poker with the Chinese. There were 2 ghettos or 2 barrios over, and a guy named Pat Wong, and he'd say, "Cians, fuck $50." Now I'm 8, 9, 10 years old, and I'm betting $50, $100, and so he'd say, "Danny boy," and what did you say? "Ants, fuck $50." I mean, so we used to bet on see if the ants were going to fuck each other. And but I was always spending more money than I made, and so I've always been a good time Charlie, more or less. Sally and I are big tippers. I mean, huge. I mean, because a lot of the bills now come with a tip already included. Sally and I worked for tips before when we were young. So we tip big. And like in the Japanese guys, big fucking hitter, Danny boy. Big fucking hitter, give bill to Danny. And I talk around them just like I'm talking now. And I wouldn't recommend that you talk that way around the Japanese or the Chinese. But somebody got up and gave me their seat here recently. I still don't like that. Not that I don't like it. I hate it. But we were at the private air terminal in Las Vegas, and there were no seats left. And our plane hadn't come in yet. And so some young couple got up and gave me their seat. It still pisses me off. I don't like that. They were 30 in a private plane. I'm 80 in a private plane, so there's a 50-year disparity. But they're nice. But in Asia, they're nice to old people. Nice to old people. Probably nicer than they should be to me. What else about the Goomba Boys?
What is the combined EBITDA for the combined EBITDA?
Probably 25 million. Might be 30 now. Their exit is going to be 50 million EBITDA. At even minimum 10 times. And probably 12 or 14. But they're in an industry that normally has low EBITDA. And I forgot to mention earlier, we were talking about an LA conglomerate. And we've got 2 or 3 other conglomerators, even though that's not a word. Lower multiples. And LA's buying shit at 3, at the top end, 3, 4. But in the public arena, it's only 10, 11. So but doesn't want to sell anyway because he's building a company for his family. Okay, but he will not get the same multiple. It's also I alluded to it the first or second day. Depends on what stock exchange you go to. There's and that stock exchange multiple is based on liquidity. And the most liquid market in the world is the New York Stock Exchange. Okay, the second most liquid market in the world is NASDAQ. The third most liquid market in the world is London Stock Exchange, where I was public. But there's not thousands, but there's hundreds of stock exchanges. And so combination of what industry you're rolling up and where you're floated or where you go public will depend on what you can exit for. On the New York Stock Exchange, you can call up and say, I want to sell 100,000 shares at the market. And if the market is 99 at 99 and a half, you'll get 99 or 99 and a quarter. You do that on some of the flimsier markets, i.e. Toronto, you could get 86 because they fill the market order, and normally it'll be bought, that order will be filled by the broker that he sticks in his portfolio, and then he waits, to unload it to some poor fucker, another day. What else about the Goombas? Yes, sir.
Now they talk about phantom stock.
It's the stock that that none of you want to give anybody. Yeah, Same. It's just it's another name. It's not dissimilar to Gabriel. If you remember, there was a phantom portion and a clawback. He had even one more fucking twist in it. Basically, it's because you don't want to give the stock away. I mean, you don't have to be Einstein to figure this out. In my experience of 52 and a half years of doing this, ultimately, you get fucked. But you won't listen.
And so my question
because you will not be able to lure the quality of people you want with some phantom thing you're going to stick up their ass and pull out their mouth.
I don't know if I understand correctly, but I thought he was talking about the sellers.
No, it's employees. When he gets key employees from the companies he buys, he's not giving that to the fucking seller. He's giving it to the key employees at the companies he's buying. And key employees he's got in the holding company where he and his brother are. And but there's all kinds of twists. Gabriel has a phantom with a clawback. It's not worth the time for me to explain all these different things to you. The bottom line is they don't get any money vis-a-vis ownership in the company until there's an exit. All of them have the same bottom line. They get fuck all. They can work there 47 years. And you fire them the week before you go public, you owe them nothing. Now, to me, they call that chicken shit in the hood where I come from. So I don't like that. I already told you I like the vanilla. And with no vesting. Plus the vesting, you're going to be there 19 years.
So just to clarify, I ask again, what's the right way?
The right way, well, to me, right way. Well, first of all, you're not going to get Ben Carson with a phantom butt fuck. You're not going to get the former Secretary of Treasury like I had with a phantom butt fuck. You're not going to get Dan Peña with a phantom butt fuck. You're not going to get, anybody worth a shit with a phantom butt fuck. But all these guys that are on LinkedIn have two things in common. They're fucking broke, and they can't live after retirement without the company credit card and the company benefits. They had $1 million a year salary, and they had about $1 million a year in perks. Okay? And now their pension's $415,000 a year. You do the math. They don't tell you that. And when you look at their when you look at their profiles in LinkedIn, I'm interested in charity, and they're broke. Now, I don't suggest you say that. In fact, you shouldn't say that. But I mean, they're broke. That's why they settle for 2, 3, 4, 5%. I wouldn't watch my dogs jack off for that 2%. And you'd sell your sister for 2%. But we're in different economic stratas, kids. But there was never a time I'd settle for 2%. Never. And when I got started, because I always had a big mouth, I said, I'm going to make, next year I'll make $25 million. I don't need this shit. And most of those years I did. Not every year. But most of those years I did. But see, I could start over today. I give you all my money. And before my 80th birthday, I'll be worth $100 million. That's 17 months from now. No doubt in my military or civilian mind. None. That's the difference. And I'm not talking about collecting a bunch speaking fees like a lot of the guys do. I speak for free. I shouldn't. I should sign up, the agencies that put you out there to speak. Because I'm sure I could get $250. If they pay Clinton fucking $500,000, I'm sure I can get $250. What else about the Goombas? But your lawyers will explain to you the shares, or the share participation. And but you heard Marcus say they all said bullshit. Don't give them anything. Pay them by the put them on an advisory board. And then Marcus says, no, I want them on a real board. Okay. And when you fire some board members, you'll get, let's say you fire the in-house lawyer. 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a bill from him. He will have been calculating all the hours he's been working for you, times however much money, you'll get a bill. Then what do? You use it for toilet paper, you wipe your ass with it. Occasionally, one of you morons actually pays it. And this is what I'm dealing with. And y'all, don't tell me how you're going to fuck up your real estate business. I'm not going to give a shit less. But he's destined. He is destined. It's the way it is. I'm just a nymph, and I gotta fuck somebody. Goddamn. Even if they got AIDS, I gotta fuck somebody. And that's where you are. Now, see, even though I tell you not to keep in contact with each other, there are secret. I said this already on some kind of hidden sites or something. There's a bunch of groups. I don't want to know about it. And good news doesn't travel fast, but bad news is like lightning. So the first one of you that steps on your dick really bad, I'll know about it in 48 hours. Then you call Kim. I'm indisposed. He's crying, Mr. Peña. I'm indisposed. I have to go wee-wee right now. I have to go take a pee. Don't call. Believe me. 2 or 3 of you have already asked me, is it down the road? No. What I'm saying to the group is absolutely 1,000% true. Don't fucking call. What else about the Goombas? But they're great entertainers. They're great entertainers. We almost got in a fight in the hotel over Christmas because you can't smoke in the hotels. Well, the Goomba Brothers smoke in the hotels. And with 8, 9 of them, all, like chain smoking cigars. Okay, who's my 5:30? 6? 6:30. You rose your hand. 5:30? Uh-oh. Oh. Well, you better, some was 5:17. So figure out who's 5:30, Kat.
5:30 Arnold Cabal, followed by Max Sanderson and Max Bobbitt.
5:30, who's 6? Who's 6:30? Okay. Tonight's fish and chip night in the pub, and it was one of my favorite meals. Now we didn't talk about the lady that never had a day off, and I didn't talk about the other thing I just handed out. That's a quality. Hold it up, Doc. Okay, that's a quality of earnings. Most of you in this room, I'm being sarcastic. Or cheeky, as they say in Britain. Most of you have never seen one of those. Although you should have, if you've done any kind of transaction whatsoever, you should have seen them. But that is the penultimate, next to the last. No, that's okay. Well, that's what I was telling you about J.P. Morgan getting out of global warming. That's what the accountants, that's a KPMG draft, final draft, that they give you to tell you whether you should go forward or not, okay? The bank, to the extent that there's commercial lending, will also have a quality of earnings, and but what you want to tell the accountants doing the quality of earnings stroke due diligence, as soon as you see an amber flag, let me know. I don't want a fucking red flag the day before we close. Because a lot of the accounting firms, and they're doing a good job, want to bill you right up to before somebody cuts your throat. So you want an amber flag. So, if this deal doesn't hunt, I want to stop the due diligence. I want to stop all the, all the work. You might save $200,000-$300,000. But we'll talk about that in more detail, but that's the quality of earnings. And that's the kind of information and that's why I frown upon you doing your own due diligence. Because you've got a lot of experienced people on the board, but some of them have not been in the saddle for 20, 25 years. And a lot of laws change in those 20, 25 years, especially tax. But that's the kind of information that they'll be coming back with you, whether you should go forward with the transaction or not. And the bank will have their own. Normally, the bank's quality of earnings aren't as in-depth as the one I just gave you. But all the big accounting firms know how to do it. It's no mystery. Okay, YouTube, thank you.